That's the thing with TV now, right? Is TV is basically just like wallpaper that might make you laugh or feel something every once in a while now. You're watching your late night shows and they're just like, oh, yeah, we're going to talk to some celebrities. And, sometimes they're funny, but not usually. Usually they're just kind of talking about what they're doing. I don't know. It's just kind of this degradation of television right now. I don't know. I'm thinking about Supernatural right now, because like they got the Supernatural, they got like fucking like, it feels so like, edgy, right? And it's just like watching that show over time kind of drop off. It's kind of like the arc of the Chevy Impala. You start with like, because they got like the Chevy Impala in that show, and that's supposed to be like a huge thing. Dean is all about that Chevy Impala. He's like, this is my car, this is my life, and he drives it. It's a hot rod. It's a hot rod. And now, you see later on Chevy Impala, the most common car in LA, silver. You couldn't tell it apart from a crowd. It's fucking bullshit. Just TV's like that too, yeah.
You know what ruined the Chevy Impala and also, by extension, our society?
What's that?
The fucking center console where you fucking, like, people have the illusion of control and convenience with their, like, little fucking dials for the radio and cup holders and shit like that. But what was actually taken from you is your ability for your brother, Dean Winchester, to slide across the bench seat on your Chevy Impala and give you some good old-fashioned roadhead.
That's so true. You mean Sam, by the way. And Sam does have some beautiful...
This is all the power you ever had. Now it is mine. Pity there is not more time for us.
You tell him it's open season on all suckheads.
I'm just gonna have to teach you a lesson. No more clowning around. Fire!
Is that gasoline I smell? No, man. No!
Yeah, I would let Jared Padalecki touch, okay?
All right, everybody. Sorry, I had to censor Brian for a little bit there with the theme song before we had to listen to fucking Supernatural bullshit. Welcome to Edging with Trash and Monk. I'm Monk.
And I'm Trash.
That's
your
true.
Friendly neighborhood Trash.
Your friendly neighborhood, apparently a fucking Supernatural fan, which I expected better from you, to be honest.
Really? I mean, here's the thing, okay? Supernatural, the first couple seasons are really good. Mm-hmm. It does fall off, though. It falls off really hard.
Yeah.
They start getting into like the heaven and hell shit, and I'm just like, snooze fast.
Dog, both of you are going to hell. Your asses are jaywalkers.
Yeah.
Your ass crossed the street with impropriety, and that's really all that it takes.
Yeah. That's all it takes, and all of a sudden you're in hell.
Yep. No redemption, no salvation. Just one mistake and bam. Good luck.
Yeah. No, you do not pass go. You go straight to jail. Okay. And jail is hell on earth.
Yeah.
And then you get to continue your suffering in hell.
Even heaven is like, what the fuck, dude? Like, can you like, has there been a depiction of heaven in media where you see like heaven and you're like, oh my God, I really want to go there, right? Or does it all just like, oh, I'm living in a yogurt commercial for eternity?
Yeah, I mean, all the media depictions suck. I feel like going to heaven would have to be like, actually you're like in heaven, driving like a hot car, and you're just
Yeah.
like maybe you're bleeding out and you're just driving and like listening to some cool jams from 2011, and I don't know, maybe like you're on a lot of painkillers, you know? maybe you're like really high.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it sounds
and
like
you're
you
driving
could
high,
get,
you know?
it sounds like you could have that experience like today if you really wanted to. You could just shoot
right,
up
you
and
gonna
just
come
start
over?
driving around.
All right, so here's the recipe, okay? First off, I gotta go get a Slim Jim, okay? I gotta go get a Slim Jim. I'll go open up the door on a car. Then I need you to stab me. And then I'll shoot a bunch of heroin, and then I'll go drive a car recklessly. Does that sound
Yeah.
good?
That sounds good. And maybe you can fucking knock out a few of these jaywalkers while you're at it.
Yeah. Hey, so true. So true. Roads are for cars, not people. Okay.
Yeah.
We decided that I don't know, 70
That
years
was
ago.
what the
okay?
founding fathers intended, is for there to be these big impassable gulches separating all of us everywhere we go.
Yeah. What's the name of that engineer who designed the modern highway and segregation?
Bill Clinton.
Oh, Bill Clinton. William S. Clinton. I don't think S is his middle name, actually.
William Gibbons Clinton.
No, there was a guy though. There was a guy who designed the
William Hussein Clinton.
Yes, there we go. God.
I'll just keep thinking of middle names for Bill Clinton while you definitely aren't Googling this shit and you're naturally
I'm
remembering it.
I'm Googling it.
Can we have our co-host Alexa tell us this? Maybe she knows.
Hey Alexa, who designed the first highway?
.org. John Loudon McAdam, 1756 to
17. Oh,
designed the first modern highways and developed an inexpensive paving material of soil and stone aggregate known as macadam.
McAdam?
Damn.
I don't know.
That seems a little bit early for what you're talking about.
More? No, I'm good. No, there was that guy who was like, we should build highways through cities. And then was like, okay, and we're going to put all the poor people on one side and all the rich people on the other one.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah. And, story old as time, Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, and shit's whack.
I actually live next to a massive highway intersection. It fucking sucks ass.
Which side are you on?
I'm on the southeast side, I think. Yeah, southeast.
Like, which side are you on, Mark? Which side are you on?
Whichever one is on the southeast.
Okay, got it.
Because I ain't crossing that shit. That's like the ultimate picket line is the interstate. You should cross that.
I mean, it is a death trap, so like it's pretty effective too. That's what the protest movement needs, is the ability to build impromptu highways.
We always talk about people like fucking like running over protesters because they're like psycho right-wing assholes. What if we had a defensive perimeter of cars just driving around the protest in circles?
Fuck yeah. Like there's just like a bunch of people hanging out the windows all being like, which side are you on? fucking spinning in circles. And I don't know, they got like barbed wire on that shit too or something like that. It'd be fucking sick.
Like fucking road spikes.
This shit, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
You'd have like that dude with the guitar from Fury Road.
Oh, that guy fucking slapped.
It's that guy, but he's Woody Guthrie. He's got an acoustic.
Yeah, I'd get my I'd get my my face modded to become
Cyber Guthrie.
cyber Guthrie flying around on a bungee on a flatbread truck.
A flatbread truck. Is this sponsored by
Panera? Yeah. But sponsored by Panera. Panera, pro union, pro bread.
Yeah, I think they are pro bread.
Soups. Actually, you know what I want, Monk?
What?
I want
You
some
want
of
the
that
lemonade
fucking
that kills
lemonade.
you? Yeah.
I want the lemonade that kills you.
I have like half a pitcher of it in my fridge that I didn't get around to drinking, and it's like probably like a month and a half old at this point.
That's
Maybe a little
probably
bit.
well. Actually, you know, with all that caffeine, it's probably not poison.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm kind of
it is
scared to drink
poison.
it.
It is poison because caffeine is poison, but it's not like, you know, it's like poison for bugs.
It's like the standard amount of poison for food in America, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that is the thing about America is that we're all living in the poison. We
We're
are
all
the
just
smokers
eating
from
poison.
Waterworld. The smokers from Waterworld. You know, I'm surprised, frankly, that we don't have like politicians on balconies throwing out like cigarettes to everybody, being like, "Smoke up."
They'd be
Life
jewels these
short.
days.
And thank God for that.
Politician being like,
fucking
take a
hang
rip
on.
of this elf bar.
I want a fucking elf bar. Give me an elf bar right now.
An elf bar with like Richard Nixon's face on it.
Motherfucker. I did no crime.
I'm trying to think of a smoking word that rhymes with crook. I am not a hookah. That doesn't work.
No, not at all. That was awful. God, I don't know. That's like my only Nixon line. I don't know. He's like, I hate black people, but also love Jarum black cigarettes. There we go. Maybe something like that.
Hold on. Famous Nixon quotes.
There we go.
Fucking the internet.
Now we're
Here
talking.
again. This is from brainyquote.com. Only if you have been in the deepest valley can you ever know how magnificent it is to be on the highest mountain. There you go, Nixon. He's chasing that
On
dragon.
the highest mountain, smoking a cigarette.
Oh, here we go. This is perfect. A man is not finished when he is defeated. He is finished when he quits.
That's true. That's true. Quit smoking. And we will never be defeated. Okay? We're out here at the Watergate Hotel smoking cigarettes.
When the president does it, that means it's not illegal. And he's talking about his jewel because Biden made them illegal.
True. And that's why we don't vote for Biden. The only reason why.
Oh, here we go.
There's no other
The
reason.
Cold War isn't thawing. It's burning with a deadly heat. Communism isn't sleeping. It is, as always, plotting, scheming, working, fighting.
Smoking.
You won't have Nixon to kick around anymore because, gentlemen, this is my last press conference.
Damn. What a real one. And by real one, I mean real piece of shit.
That's true.
That's true. That's true.
He said some dope shit about communism, though. I am always scheming.
Always scheming. Always be scheming.
I'm always scheming to get my surplus labor back, like fucking Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah. God, it's so funny. I love watching like all the new stuff that like the new ways that people are like trying to conceive of like getting back at their bosses and shit.
Mm-hmm.
They're always like, I'm quiet quitting. And it's like,
quiet quitting
what?
is bullshit. You know what's not bull? This is how you get back at your boss, is you fucking like walk into their office to give them some update on some fucking dumb bullshit, and you leave a silent fart behind and you walk out. It's that easy. You don't have to fucking overcomplicate it, okay?
I'm just saying, you know, I'm just saying these children need to look to their elders, okay? And by children I mean millennials, which I am one of.
Me too.
Need to look to their elders, right? And just be like, hey, You know what quiet quitting sounds an awful lot like? A work slowdown. There's already a word for this.
Yeah. And you could
Somebody
also
already
be
did
farting in your
this.
boss's office while you did
And you
that.
could also be farting. Always be farting. If you're not
APM.
eating, if you're not eating a big plate of beans before you go into work to really get that engine going, what are you doing?
Eat
You're
some of
not
those-
washing those puppies either.
Eat some of those questionable eggs you had the other day.
Oh my god, the questionable egg. Everybody, yesterday I ate an egg that was like 5
You
days
didn't
old.
even
It was like,
an old egg, like the whole egg, didn't you? You had like a bite
oh, I
of
took
the egg.
one bite. I took one bite. I got into the yolk and just was like, this smells like really sulfury.
Yeah.
And so I like went to throw out most of the egg. And the bite that I had in my mouth, I was like about to spit it out, and then I saw that my dad was there, and I was like, I can handle this, and I swallowed it, and instant regret. Instant regret. And I like
Wow.
put some bread on top of it and everything, but then I just like went and sat down and was just like burping, and it tasted like a volcano. I was like, this is stupid.
Yeah, you were fucking on that egg bullshit for like a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it was I mean, I was stressed. I was stressed. I didn't want here's my number one fear, okay? Is ever puking. I just can't.
When's the
I
last
hate
time
it
you do you
so
have like a Seinfeld streak going, a not puking streak?
I like don't. I really don't. I haven't done it in many years. Last time I did it, I had to drink a whole bottle of wine to myself in like an hour. And then I had probably the most annoying kind of puke ever, where I ran to the bathroom and then puked red wine everywhere. I did clean it up though, because I'm a good house guest, okay?
Yeah. You just the big thing about puking out red wine is you can just drink it again.
Ew. Ew.
Whenever I'm about to puke, I don't ever like puke right away, right? I'll have like a moment where like I'm just sort of hanging out, usually fairly intoxicated, and I'll have like a thought about like in 30 minutes I will be puking.
Begin the clock.
And like it's always like a prophetic vision of like I'm going to be puking in the future, and then I have time to as soon as the prophecy's written, it's set in stone. There's nothing I can do to avoid it, but I do have time to like prepare myself.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I haven't surprise puked in a long ass time.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get close, right? I'll like feel sick and be like, "Oh, I got to go puke." I've even ended up like over the toilet waiting for it, right? I've been like, "Oh, it's going to happen." And it just doesn't. Because I have puke trauma, and that's unique. Like a lot of people puke and it's bad, right? But I have puke trauma. It's
You're
special.
vomit retentive.
I can't. I just like I associate it with like dying. So it's like, so I'm like, I don't know about that.
You heard it here first, folks. Brian, the only person who does not like puking and thinks it's a bad thing to have happen to them.
The only one. I'm so special. Oh my god.
My greatest fear is sort of related, because I think there would be puking involved. My greatest fear is accidentally tasting like antifreeze a little tiny bit, and then it's like the most delicious thing I've fucking eaten in my entire life, but I can't have any more of it ever. But there's a dark passenger inside me that just wants to start chugging antifreeze at all times based on one tiny sip I had on accident however many years ago. And living the rest of my life like that.
I do have a friend who crossed that line, not with antifreeze, but with you're gonna love this, with laundry detergent.
Oh, no, like the heated Tide Pod.
No, they just they had that powdered like laundry detergent.
Oh,
and they just love it. And they have trouble stopping themselves from eating it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think antifreeze is probably better than powdered laundry detergent in terms of like how it tastes. So I think there's some
Probably.
validity. Now, what I have learned is that modern antifreeze does have like a fucking nasty ass bitter in it to keep people from fucking chugging antifreeze. But so what I'd have to do is I'd have to find some vintage antifreeze from like 1974 or something. Some of that good old Nixon antifreeze.
You gotta make your own. You gotta make your own antifreeze.
That's true. You
cook
could
up-
go the DIY route.
Yeah, DIY antifreeze. There you go. Or you could just go to the auto parts store and get many special and exciting things that you can do all sorts of other things with. You know, I'm just saying the auto parts store is
Do they
the modern day
sell,
pharmacy.
Do they sell VHS head cleaner at the auto parts store?
I don't know. You might have to go to another specialty shop for that one. Oh God. You know, and the moral of this podcast, everybody, is that there's a lot of fun and exciting ways to destroy your body and get high. And you probably shouldn't do it, but you might.
And if
And,
you are doing
you know,
it, you
don't-
can watch a movie while you're doing it, you know?
And yeah, you can watch a movie. Watch a movie like the movie Drive, which we watched this week.
People talk a lot about trying to capture the sleeping audience with their
Mhm.
podcast, and I think that is a really great audience to grab because they're never going to turn off the show in the middle of listening to it unless you
True.
like start screaming or some shit.
Mhm.
But I think the even better audience to have is the fucking about to overdose audience.
The nodding off audience, yeah.
Nodding
for
off for
real,
the
that's
last
true.
time while edging with Trash and Monk
Yes,
is playing in the background.
You know, and if that's you, you know,
hope
carry
you had a
on,
good-
sweet chariot. Be well. We'll see you on the other side.
Yeah.
And yeah, fucking, you know.
You see that big light hovering above you? I think you should go to that. You should follow your instinct.
Yeah. It's warm. It's nice. And you can live forever there.
That's true. Like
There's
a yogurt
no-
commercial.
There's no pain in that yogurt commercial, okay?
But yeah, we watched Drive.
We watched Drive. Great movie.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan. We were feeling kind of down after watching John Wick 2 because I feel like we had pretty high hopes for that movie, right?
I did have high hopes for it. And you know what? I'm
Yeah.
trying to... the more I think about John Wick 2 after watching it, because when I was immediately off of that movie, like, there were some parts that I wanted to give a lot more credit than to, just because, like, I don't know, I thought some of the nightclub parts were cool, and, like, some of the other parts are cool, but the more I think about it after watching it, the more I'm like, oh, that was fucking dog shit. God, I hated that.
It's just like, you know, what a waste. What a
Yeah.
waste. That movie, because it had so many parts that were good. It really did.
Yeah.
And then they were just all stitched together with like dental floss into like a shitty pair of pants that
That's
nobody
true.
wants to wear. Nobody.
Nobody at all.
And yeah, that's just too bad because there was so much good stuff in that movie. It just needed to be put together in a way that didn't suck.
Yeah. A movie that doesn't
Fell
suck,
apart
though.
on the- But yeah, a movie that doesn't suck.
Drive. This is a controversial opinion we have that Drive is a pretty good movie.
Is that controversial?
Yeah, so many people are talking about how Drive sucks and there's not enough driving in Drive.
Well, I mean, I would say I do agree that there's not enough driving in Drive. That's
Yeah.
I feel that, but
That was actually like the like a lot, not necessarily the mainstream like critical reception of the movie, but there were like in like 2011 when like Drive came out, there were a lot of people that were mad, like thought Drive sucked because there wasn't any driving in it.
like I don't think that it's bad because of that, of course, right? It's just that it would be nice if there was more. I would like it. I liked the driving in the movie. The direction for the driving was good in the movie. I would like it more if there was more, but still, this is like an amazing movie. I don't know if I would actually change it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I see what you mean. Like, I don't know. Like, I think now that you got me fucking thinking about it, I think the runtime, like, you could have theoretically fit like another driving scene somewhere in there without the runtime getting like fucking astronomically long. But like, I don't know. I think about Drive, and like, I think the driving that's there all really works. And I think about like the cost of adding more driving is probably fewer scenes of Ryan Gosling just staring at the wall for 5 minutes uninterrupted.
Yeah, which I do actually love. That's one of my favorite parts of the movie, is that Ryan Gosling is amazing in this movie. I
Fucking
this
everyone
sounds,
is amazing in this movie. Ryan Gosling's amazing.
yeah.
Carey Mulligan's amazing. Fucking Oscar Isaac's amazing. Ron
Yep.
Perlman is amazing. Bryan Cranston
Mhm.
is amazing. There's just
Yep.
so many people who are like, fuck it. And like, these are all people who like you can tell that like they've gotten like really good fucking direction as instructions as well. Because there's not like,
Yeah.
there's not like a whole characterization to go off of for a lot of these characters like in the script. But like they all have like a really distinct, like consistent like way of like conducting themselves and mannerisms that make like really, I think, elevate a script that I wouldn't say is bad, but it's like sort of intentionally sparse on like a lot of the details of these characters, because it's delivered through like extremely naturalistically through like you just observe them and you see what they're like, you know?
Yeah. Like, I feel like a lot of people would watch this movie and see Ryan Gosling acting in it and think that he's like bad. And I like can't disagree more, right? Like his delivery, his creation of like this characterization of Driver
Mhm.
is kind of nuts. He's like, he's got this character that like doesn't talk, and you can only see emotions when he's not talking. Like, that's the only time he's doing emotions. He like will like smile and then be like, "Oh, gotta shut it down," and then deliver his line every time. Every time it's like very consistent. It's all really good, and he'll just be like, "Yeah." But then he'll like see the kid and be like, "Yeah, you know, I'm making friends with this kid," and then just say nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, his ability to like do acting that isn't all driven by just like the vocal performance is really good in this movie.
And it works
And
really
it's
well
like,
for the role too, where like fucking
yeah,
like the character he's playing is supposed to be this like sort of outsider with a mysterious past that you're not really meant to like you're not really meant to be able to tell. They even talk about this. So there's a scene where fucking Ryan Gosling and Benicio, the kid from the neighbor lady, Irene,
Irene, yeah.
they're fucking chilling on the couch, they're watching TV, and they're talking about like fucking sharks or whatever, because they're watching like some kids show and there are evil sharks in it, and the kid's like he like literally talks to the kid and he's like, "Who's the bad guy?" And the kid says, "The shark," and he's like, "Why?" So, well, you can see that they're sharks, so they're bad. And he's like, "So there's no good sharks?" And like it's very funny, because like he is kind of like that sort of like you see, it's a very like fucking dualistic role where you see part of him that's like fucking like an unrepentant, unremorseful, like fucking like violent asshole, you know, and the other part where he's just like hanging out with his kid and having a good time. And like it's not necessarily like, it is genuinely like it's like two different people is like the fucking the way it's played, you know, because it's like he goes into, it's not like there's like a mixing of it where it's like, oh, he's like living a double life or something like that. It's like genuinely like fucking like you don't know which side of this is like real and which side of this is like him acting. And that's like the sort of reserved way that Ryan Gosling is playing this character is like key to making that fucking work.
Yeah. Really good. Really fucking good.
And that's like a thematic through line throughout the entire movie. Like the fucking scene where he's killing Ron Perlman and he's wearing a fucking stump mask that he just stole from work.
Yep. Yeah. He just took his stunt mask from work, came and killed Ron Perlman while wearing a mask, giving like Halloween vibes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God, this weird freak. What the fuck's he doing?
But it's like there's the layer of like him being a weird freak, and it's like, why the fuck are you wearing this mask? And there's also like, it's like another layer of fucking like metaphor on this of like,
Yeah, of course.
who the fuck is this guy, you know?
Yeah.
People are asking this question like the entire, like no one knows who this fucking person is, and they're like literally saying like, who is this person?
Bryan Cranston in the garage being like, yeah, he came into town and he just like walked up to the shop and was like, hey, can I get a job? And I was like, yeah, and I underpay him. Don't tell him, but you know, and he just like, he's completely happy with it. I don't know, came out of nowhere. It's like, okay, yeah, dog. That's wild.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're new to the building. I mean, I've been in town a long time, but I'm new here. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's got this like completely fucking empty apartment.
Yeah, his apartment's like gives serial killer very much. He literally has a table where he can work on car parts with like a jeweler's magnifying glass. And
that's about it.
And nothing. That's it. That's the whole house. Yeah, and he just sits there and looks out the window.
Yeah.
Like it's just like he's a completely like a mysterious character in the truest sense. You don't know shit about him. And it's just wild to watch him like open up to people and like try to develop some relationships and then being like, well, everything's fucked now. time to go and revert to sicko mode. And then Travis Scott starts playing.
That's true.
Yeah. That happens in this movie, I swear. Yeah. It's I don't know. That's really cool. I really appreciate you know, just all the characters. Yeah, Oscar Isaac as Standard was like, which also I was like, is that his name?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people's reaction to that. It's very funny because we watched it with subtitles this time. It's very funny that the subtitles don't even capitalize the word Standard for his name. I wasn't paying enough attention to the credits to see if it's like uncapitalized in the credits too, but yeah, his name is just fucking Standard.
Yeah. Fucking, and also they even reference it in the writing for it, is that he's Standard, and Irene's talking about it with him as he's telling the story of their meeting. And he's like, I'm Standard, what was it?
Gabrielle.
Standard Gabrielle, yeah. And she's like, what about Deluxe Gabrielle?
Yeah.
Like just completely dumbfounded by someone being named Standard. And you know, frankly, I don't know if there's anybody in the world named Standard. I've never heard of anyone named Standard before. I love that name. That's a wild name to choose for a kid. Yeah. Way better than anything.
What's your name? Oh, it's Normie.
Elon Musk chose.
My name's Normie Basicson.
Yeah. My name's Normal. Normal cat.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. Let's see what else about this movie. The driving scenes are amazing. I love them a lot. They got some really good shots. They feel good. They feel tense when they need to feel tense.
Yeah, I do like that, like, because it works well for this movie, the way that they approach a lot of the drive. It's not really like a chase movie. Like, there are like chase scenes in a lot of the driving scenes, but a lot of the driving, like the extended bit in the middle, right, which is like him ostensibly a chase scene, right, where he's like fucking running away from the cops after this little vignette of like one of the jobs he does. And which, by the way, it's funny that this character also has like fucking 4 jobs in the movie too. Ryan Gosling, the driver, where he's like a getaway driver, he's a stunt driver, he's a mechanic, and he's a race car driver.
It's his special interest is cars. So he's chosen to get 4 different jobs involving cars.
But
And that's great.
yeah, so it's like fucking he's in this. It's the beginning of the film is like this vignette of like one of the getaway drives he's been doing, and like 90% of that drive is him like going the speed limit or like stop parking under a bridge. Like there's so much stillness in that driving scene that's still like and like even when they get like more like chasey in like later scenes, like there's a lot of like emphasis on like, yeah, this is a fucking heavy ass vehicle that is moving very fast. Like everything feels like really weighty in a way that's very satisfying.
Yeah, it feels very like realistic. And I think that's kind of wild because usually you watch Bullet, right? Or like a classic chase movie.
Or shoot 'em up.
Or shoot 'em up. And everything feels like very surreal. Like, you got these cars and they move really well. They're very professionally driven, but like it never really feels like you kind of know what's going to happen. It gets tense, but you kind of know like how things are going to go. It's like, oh yeah, they're going to drive fast after each other. Where this one, it's like, oh yeah, there's people trying to do pit maneuvers. There's like people like hiding under bridges, like blending into crowds. Like it's all about that stuff. And it, I just think that like that feels really nice to see in a movie because there's that tension there, but there's also that like very clean, professional, like, yeah, this is how you would actually evade the police.
Yeah.
In a car. This is how you actually would deal with like getting chased by some random person in a car, even if it is like expertly driven, and therefore like no one could actually
like
do
you
that.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to, but maybe you could pretend you are cool enough to do that.
Yeah, but if you practiced a lot, you could maybe get good enough to do that, maybe.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I don't know, that it all felt really cool to me that they went that way with it. Yeah. Also, hey, you want a toothpick?
Yeah.
You ever meet a kid and just offer them a toothpick?
That's what my dad would do all the time. My dad would be handing me toothpicks all the fucking time.
That's so funny.
I'd be like fucking 8 years. I don't know if you're supposed to give small children toothpicks. I think they're like choke on it or some shit. I don't know. Some liberal nanny state bullshit about kids choking.
Yeah, these goddamn liberals are telling people not to give toothpicks to children. And I'm just asking those liberals, what do you want them to do? Smoke cigarettes? Yes.
We can give them that.
We can give them cigarettes.
Low tar.
Low tar.
For building the resilience of the lungs.
I mean, for real, what happened to all the ashtrays in this town, though?
It's funny, like, we've got to talk, I think, a little bit about the reputation of the movie, the, like, fucking, like, weird drive cells out there. There was, like, the fucking, I don't know if, like, the fucking, like, 4chan obsession with Drive, started with that one green text where the guy, said that he, rebuilt his entire personality to be like Ryan Gosling, or if that was a pre-existing trend that guy was writing the post about.
It's hard to know. It's hard to know.
We need like some fucking anthropologist out there to fucking trace back the folkways of the internet's obsession with Drive, I think, in order to get a real answer.
All I know is there's a lot of people out there with Drive jackets now.
Yeah. Have you seen the
weird.
picture of like a billion of like all the people with Drive jackets that I am obsessed about?
There's like a like, are they all hanging out?
It's like a collage. Hold on. Or like
no, I haven't seen this, but I want to. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me see if I can find this. There's like a billion of them.
If it's all collaged into a picture of a scorpion too, I might come.
No, it's not that good. But yeah. So people are like fucking like Gosling pilled in this movie where they, oh hey, here's an AI picture of fucking Ryan Gosling and Drive.
Why?
I can't find it. It's gonna take too long to find it. But
that's okay.
Yeah, so fucking like people have this like weird idea. I think this is like something that there's like a particular faction of people who are really just obsessed with identifying with like serial killers in movies, like the fucking Patrick Bateman people, the Sigma
That's true.
grind set Patrick Bateman people. They really
The
love
trigger
characters
guys,
like
yeah.
this that fucking like obsess over a woman and then kill a bunch of people for some reason.
For some reason, that's a popular trend on the internet. Is these people who are like, that's me.
Yeah.
That's me doing the killing for my maiden, my fair maiden. You know, a lot of Clive Owens from Sin City, you know, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, you know.
But like it's
My
fun to
val-
trace back a lot of these movies, and like this is because this is a demographic that I'm the like fucking weirdos like that are a demographic I've been sort of obsessing over for a long ass time, because I want to know how these people fucking watch movies and come to the conclusion that they are like a based epic Sigma guy, because they never watch the movies that are actually amenable to their positions. Like you don't.
Showers with a high of 50
Alexa,
Fahrenheit.
Stop it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexa. Like you never fucking hear these people talk about Wanted, right? Even though Wanted is like the perfect fucking movie for them because it's explicitly about hating women.
Yeah. It really is. By the way, if you haven't watched that episode, you know, we really do go into detail about how much that movie hates women. And
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, hates everyone. And is an incel movie. Not just an incel, like an incel school shooter movie too.
Yeah.
Like it's
but you go and you actually go out among the incel school shooters and you sit your white ass down and you listen to what they have to say. And none of them fucking talk about Wanted because they know that Wanted is a shitty fucking movie.
Yeah. Yeah, they really do. For all their flaws, they at least choose usually good movies to end up obsessing over.
So I think
they choose Fight Club and they choose Drive and they choose
Peaky Blinders.
The Matrix, Peaky Blinders. They don't choose Wanted, which is a movie made by and for them, and they're
or
like
Gamer.
Or Gamer, which is or Crank 2.
Some of them like Crank too. But yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting watching these movies with like this, because like Drive is like I don't think needs to be viewed in this sort of cultural context to get something out of it, because it's just genuinely like a really good movie. And if you're a normal person, I don't think you see the scene of Ryan Gosling like fucking curb stomping that guy in the elevator and go, God, I wish that was me.
I know. I love that scene so much, by the way. Is him like going and just like moving Irene out of the way, kissing her, and then turning around and murdering this guy.
They do some cool shit with the lighting too. Like they do this throughout the whole movie, where there are scenes where like the lighting, like they take the main lights low and have like an ambient light that's just in the shot, like lighting the whole thing, or they like put like a spotlight. Like they did this in Nino's, like right at the end where he's at the party and fucking he's like Ryan Gosling is wearing the mask and looking into it, and it's like there's like a spotlight shining directly on
Nino, who's like falling down laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're having a great time. Well, just you wait.
But like you don't really, I think, have to like even think about this at all. But I do it because I have a problem with my brain. Like how the fuck do you think people watch Drive and they come away thinking like, God, I want to be a Sigma grind sick guy like Ryan Gosling? Like what do you think these people like are? How do you think their brain is editing the movie to make that make sense to them?
Oh, because the thing is that they have this like aesthetic view of the world, right? They're not interested. It's like, seriously, I mean this. Like what they're looking at is the aesthetics of like this guy being hot and like
he has a cool jacket.
He has a cool jacket. He's like kind of hot. He like kisses woman. He's assertive. when he needs to be, and he's like protective, and they're like, oh yeah, this is a good man. This is what I think I'm supposed to be like. And so they're like, oh yeah, this is it. This is it. You know, when like someone who hasn't drank the full Kool-Aid of Birth of a Nation will look at that and be like, oh, well,
I don't want to kill people.
He just killed someone in an elevator right after kissing someone that he's clearly in love with. And then she's clearly terrified of him as she's standing outside the elevator looking back in. Like, it's very clearly like uncomfortable for pretty much everyone involved. Like, this is a bad vibe.
Yeah.
But they're like, strong man, that's good.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I sort of have this fucking idealistic character flaw where I assume that people aren't fucking morons. But
you see, here's the thing. If you've ever posted a green text on 4chan.gov, there's a really good chance that you're fucking stupid. You know, because really that, like, posting on that website, viewing on that website is a slightly different experience, right?
yeah,
Like people go there to look at things and be like, oh my God. And that happens a lot. There's a lot of people who do that. And I get that. I understand that. I dabbled briefly, right? But like, there's a lot of people
it's
who are
funny
actually
too that
posting
like
on it have like a desperation and like a deep sadness going on with them that has driven them to do some of the dumbest things possible, which is to post on a board where everyone's going to probably call you slurs, not even necessarily ones related to who you are, for simply existing. So, and it's been that way for 20 years.
yeah. It is funny to me, the fucking like persistent like weird, you know how like people from San Francisco think that San Francisco is like considered to be one of the best cities in the country, and no one outside of San Francisco has ever thought that.
Yeah.
This is kind of what's going on with 4chan, where like 4chan, like there's like this fucking Channer thing from back in the day. I don't know if people still say this or if they're no longer in denial about this, but fucking like the idea that like, oh, Reddit is a bunch of stupid people pretending to be smart, and 4chan is a bunch of smart people pretending to be stupid. And it's like, no, you motherfuckers are actually, you're right about Reddit. You motherfuckers are just actually stupid.
Yeah. You just are stupid here. You're just fully stupid. You're not pretending.
Although I will say that they're
most
probably
dysfunctional people on the planet.
the people who are actually posting on 4chan are probably more well adjusted than the people posting on like the 4chan subreddit, right? Or like
That's a thing.
There's a 4chan subreddit that's just posts of people like screenshots of the most racist shit on 4chan, and people going, God, this is so good.
Jesus Christ.
Or there's like all the fucking green text repost shit on Twitter, and if you like are like engaging with that to like a fucking like huge degree, that's also like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, why are you doing this?
Yeah,
it's not good. It's a bad place. It's been a bad place. I don't know, watching that place over time, mostly through like secondhand stuff at this point, especially, I mean, at this point sounding like there was ever like a whole lot of engagement there, but like,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
that place has gone some places, and it never was good, but it got way worse. Oh God. And it's just what is, like, seriously, like the insecurity you see from people that have been posting there.
Yeah, it's the type of insecurity you can only
astronomical.
develop from being banned from something awful.
Yeah, truly. I don't know. I remember it was hearing about this mostly is people people posting selfies there to get like rated,
Yeah.
and that still happens apparently. Like,
God, people do that
especially,
shit.
like,
I remember seeing that shit on like Reddit when I was like 14 years old and seeing a bunch of people like my age posting on like the Rate Me subreddit. And I'm like, motherfucker,
yeah,
I am a weird, emotionally stunted kid looking at this. And I can tell that the fact that you need like this validation from strangers when you know that they're going to be fucking pissy to you and like mean to you, or even
Yeah.
if they're nice to you, they're still going to be like saying some shit that's like fucking not what you need to hear.
yeah. They're gonna be some psychos, and they're probably gonna be really mean to you. And if they're not gonna be mean to you, they're going to be creepy to you. So there's no good thing happening here. And yeah, I don't know that, and that's still a thing. I mean, you get that kind of shit on like the trans boards and stuff like that too, apparently. And it's like, I don't know if you have a whole lot of well, no, you probably do. I don't know. I can't comment on this too well because I'm just like so divorced from it at this point. I don't think anybody I know who ever looked at it is really looking at it anymore either.
We want to hear from 4chan, from ex-channers.
Yeah.
If you're a current channer, I can't tell you to jump off a bridge because the podcast is anti-suicide. So no matter how much the better place would be if you did it, you can't jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
If you're a recovered
We hope you
channer,
heal, though.
if you somehow become a recovered channer, probably by surviving your jump off the bridge, please reach out to the email or leave us a voicemail. I do want to hear more of those perspectives. Like, what the fuck was going on in your brain that made you think this way?
Yeah, what made this okay? What made this work? Because it's hard to understand. It is.
Yeah.
But speaking of things that aren't 4chan, Drive.
Yeah.
Drive is actually not a 4chan movie.
No, it's not. It's I don't know. I wanted to talk about it because it's like something that's been like, it's such a fucking big part of like the like internet cultural discussion of this movie is like the Drive pilled weirdos. But like genuinely, like I'm not kidding when I say that like you don't like when you actually like watch the movie, if you're not like a fucking mouth breathing fucking moron, you you don't pick up on that shit like at all.
Yeah. It's just a good movie if you aren't fucked. You might watch it and be like, oh wow, this movie's really really beautiful, really well filmed, has like, cool stakes that it builds. It's well written, even if it's a bit sparse. Like it's good. It's just good. It's got good actors acting good.
Yeah. Soundtrack's a banger. Bangers only in the
Soundtrack's
soundtrack.
great. Yeah. Fucking yeah, Night Call's on this. Everybody loves Night Call. Nobody hates Night Call.
Yeah.
If they do, they're probably on they're probably on 4chan. They're fucked.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
What are some other parts of the movie that you liked? Is there anything that we haven't gotten to touch on yet that you were a big fan of?
Let's see. I made a joke while we were watching the movie, and I think it is true that that the beginning of this movie really does read as just like a short film. Everything up until the title drop is like a wonderful little short film that absolutely might have been what created this movie.
Yeah, you talk a lot about like
spot.
Yeah, exactly. Like the foundational scenes where it's like this is the first idea that they had and they built out from there. Do you think that was that first little short film area was like that moment where like this is what the thesis statement for Drive? Or do you think that comes later?
I think that it feels so different from the rest of the movie that kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like that's the spot in the movie where they created this thing, and then they tried to build off of it, and it went in a different direction. That was good. It's a good direction, but it isn't that, right? Because that part is like a beautiful study in like tension and, character is kind of minimal, but well defined. And then you get to the end of that and they start building off of that. And it feels very much like, you know, this short film character getting a full movie release that is like much more involved, much more interested in developing the character that started off as basically a non-character.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think that that's kind of the foundational point of the movie right there that they built off of.
Yeah, and it does seem like him being a non-character is something that like the movie is like sort of like you are introduced to this guy as like, okay, this guy's like a fucking like cold-hearted kind of professional where he's got like these very specific rules of like how he interacts with the world and shit like that. And then it's like I do think you're right that the rest of the like you watch the beginning and it's like, okay, well, who is this guy? And then like the rest of the movie is like, yeah, who is this guy? That's a good question. Why don't we take a moment to think about that?
Yeah. And he has a story arc now and it's okay, all right. Interesting. Yeah. Also, I just looked up the director and so he also did another favorite movie of mine.
Only God Forgives.
Are you familiar with the movie Bronson?
Oh, I'm not familiar with that.
Oh my God. Tom Hardy playing a guy who has delusions that he's Charles Bronson in British prison. And it is a batshit movie. Like it is all over the place. It's following like essentially just the like this guy's understanding of reality that has totally divorced himself from reality and himself. And it's the first time I saw Tom Hardy act and just an excellent movie that I would really like to watch sometime. Potentially for this. I don't know. You know, honestly, this is one of those movies that I feel like could end up being a Channer's dream movie, you know? Really in a lot of ways. But I think it's probably a little too gay. And and I don't like I don't mean that like it's explicitly gay either. It's just like it has more, isn't this funny? It has more of like a homoerotic element to it than even what's it called? Fight Club, which Channers love.
Yeah.
Right.
Fight Club is a gay ass movie.
It is. But Bronson, you're like very, very much exposed to a naked Ed Hardy, not Tom Hardy, sorry, a lot throughout the movie. And his very masculine ideal, which is him being like very strong and beating the shit out of people. I don't know. It actually a lot of crossover with Fight Club. Great movie. I'm a big fan. But yeah, same director. None of these other movies I know shit about though.
I've heard Only God Forgives is good.
You've heard that? Yeah.
Yeah, I have not seen it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've heard of Valhalla Rising and I heard not good things.
Interesting.
But yeah. I don't know. Interesting to see that though. That's all. Let's see. What else about the movie did I really like? Or do you have anything?
Like I think that there's like, I don't know, I've seen this movie like a billion times and still when you ask me like, oh, there's like a lot of the movie that's like, oh, this is like a fucking really iconic scene, and then it's like, oh, this is another really iconic scene, and then another, oh, a really iconic scene like right after that. Like they do a good job of like making even the moments that are like little moments, like fucking like oh, he gives his neighbor a ride home from like the mechanic shop or whatever. They do like a great job of like just shooting and presenting all of those scenes in a way that makes it clear like, hey, this matters. Which I think a lot of movies sort of like just assume that you're along for a lot of like the like interstitial scenes. Just they just assume that you're going to be on board of that because you want to see whatever the cool thing happens next is, which is something I fucking get pissed about all the time from movies because I just want every scene to be good. I think that's really the key to making a good movie is for it to just be flawless from start to finish, and a lot of directors don't seem to get that.
A lot of them phone in some scenes and that's just not okay, you know. Uh,
And Drive, I think, it really gets me on that level.
yeah, no, for sure. I agree with that. Especially when yeah, that drive home actually. Especially because as they're driving, he's like,
Mhm.
"Wanna see something?" And is just like it's like, "Oh, you're gonna show everyone a little bit of who you actually are."
Yeah.
And so he just takes them to the LA River and drives to like a weird wooded spot that's out there, which just has like discarded past plastic bags hanging from trees and shit.
Like
And
a
just
storm
looking at the
drain
river, skipping
outflow
rocks.
river, kind of.
Yeah. And it's just like, this is like a peaceful spot that I like. And it's like, wow, you really are kind of an alien. This is bananas. But also it's kind of beautiful and nice. It's like, oh, okay. Huh.
Yeah, and that could have been like there's a billion other worse versions of Drive where that scene is like a little throwaway moment, you know, and it's like
Mhm.
they like don't take the opportunity to like do something like they did in that scene where they've got like the song playing and they're having like a tender moment together, you know.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
exactly.
like fucking they just do it, and like there's not really any like wasted runtime in this movie at any
Mhm.
point, I think.
Yeah, not really. It's pretty dense. It's pretty
Yeah.
dense and everything feels important. There's another scene that I really liked. It sticks with me at the very least, which is when the two Oscar Isaac scenes really stick with me. Is
Yeah.
when Oscar Isaac is meeting Driver
Hmm.
and is like trying to like take temperature and completely unable to
Yeah.
in the hallway. Just being like, hey, it's nice to meet you. And he's like, yeah. And
Yeah.
and Oscar Isaac's like very clearly like, are you like in love with my wife? In the kind of like subtext of the scene. And Driver's just completely stone. Like, no, not
Like,
really
yeah,
giving
I've
it.
been I've been helping out, yeah.
Yeah, I've been helping out.
Yeah, I
It's
drive for
been
the
great.
movies.
And he's like, thank you. And it's like, okay. Uh and this incredibly tense scene, like really fucking tense, resolves in just this completely bananas way you wouldn't expect it to. You really do expect when you're watching the scene to see like potentially a fight break out.
Yeah.
And that resolves later. Essentially, that tension resolves when he finds Oscar on the ground bleeding because he got beat up by a bunch of thugs, and that's like essentially how that all resolves. Is he's like, oh, you're not a danger because you're helping me here,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay. Um, and then, of course, when Oscar Isaac, when Standard gets shot down outside of the pawn shop, it's like the reaction to that was really good, just really well done.
Yeah.
Watching, I can't remember the name of
And it's
the
like moments like that too,
woman
because
there, but
I think there's also a much worse version of Drive where like it gives you a clear answer about like is he like a tender person or is he like some remorseless killer? Because like there's moments where he seems like completely unambiguously one or the other. But
Mhm.
he never stops being one to only be the other or anything like that. Like it's so hard to get a read of him because of moments like this where like if he was like just this completely cold, emotionless person, right?
Mhm.
You'd see the scene of like him, Oscar Isaac getting shot, and he would just fucking drive away, right? Because that's his
Yeah.
MO that he gives, like the full fucking rundown he gives people. And this guy is like not really anyone in particular to him. He's like the girl he's into's husband, right? So
Mhm.
if he's like this like cold motherfucker, right? He's like, damn, cool, that guy got shot. But instead, what happens is he gets out of the car and he like looks shot. And like
Yeah.
it takes like bullets coming towards him for him to like get in and like go like, okay, I gotta get out of here now, which is like
Yeah.
not. And then immediately after that though, like he starts fucking like like choking the woman with Blanche
Mhm.
into like interrogating her with like
Yeah.
threats of violence. So it's like really like it's hard to get a read on him because of scenes like that. And like that's I think one of the good things about that standard scene is just like Oscar Isaac is good in it because he's like fucking like there's like this whole tension throughout the whole scene, like before he gets in and everything like that, where he's like really he's like noticeably like I like fucking fucked up from having to do this shit. And he's like working, he's like a good emotional barometer to like try to gauge the people around him, and even with that you still can't do that.
Yeah. It's like I really do think that probably what they were going for the movie was not necessarily was like somewhat metaphorical about kind of the masks we wear when we're doing like doing work versus when we're trying to like have a social life.
Yeah.
And like that's a big theme I sense in the movie is that
well, like, Irene is like a waitress for Denny's too, if you want to talk about like putting on a mask at work, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And so you have Driver who's, you know, finally able to have a social life, which he very clearly has never had. The closest thing he has had to a social life in this universe seems to have been Bryan Cranston, who is his boss.
Yeah.
and so his like character is completely this like developed ice cold worker who has to like go and put on the mask, who is the mask the entire time, right? And sometimes he's actually wearing the mask, sometimes he's not, right? But every time he's wearing the mask, he is working. And that's, I think, where the mask kind of works as a metaphor, while also practically in the movie, like works as a metaphor for just like the masks we wear, right?
Yeah.
And then his character developing like social relationships with no mask on and being like, yeah, that's that. And like, you know, the moments that are kind of in the middle where he's not wearing the mask, but you can see like how fucked up he is by what he's doing. Like the elevator scene. The elevator scene specifically is him like having to like walk over the barrier in these two worlds and like the social life that he cares about and the work that he has to do. And the same with Oscar Isaac, where he's like developed a friendship with this guy despite like very, very likely, you know, some tension there because he has feelings for Irene, right? So it's like but still he's affected by Oscar Isaac dying, even though Oscar Isaac, they're working together, but they're also actually friends.
Yeah.
Where the throwaway woman who I can't remember her name. Why can't I remember her name?
Blanche.
The redhead, Blanche. Thank you. He has no connection to, and therefore can just treat her as part of work, and then does, you know, then can just fucking hit her to try and get her to tell him the truth.
Yeah. No, and that does make sense, and it also like dovetails with like the more like the other like parts that are fucking like talked about a lot in the movie is like there is a lot of question about like authenticity with either of those identities, right? Because there is like a professional personal divide there, but like they really like they really talk a lot about like the nature of like any of these specific people, right? And you can see it in the antagonists too, where like fucking like Nino and fucking Bernie have this like weird contentious work relationship where they're partners that like fucking like kind of hate each other. And like they have like this whole scene from Nino where he's like as like rejecting like the idea of like these people who he works with being like his family because they don't treat him on equal terms. So I think that also works well with that reading. But then there's like the whole scene as well with like fucking like he's on the phone with Bernie and he's wearing his fucking scorpion jacket and he's talking about, have you ever heard of the scorpion and the frog? It's like such a like a fucking like Like that is another one of the questions that the movie is asking is like what is like it in this guy's nature to like hurt the people around him or not. And
Yeah.
I do think that there's like that tension between the professional and personal sides of him is like part of what makes that question so hard to answer in the film.
Yeah, definitely. Listeners, you didn't think that we were talking about union shit for no reason, did you? No, I'm just kidding. unplanned. But wouldn't it be funny if we thought that far ahead?
It is. I do think genuinely like doing the fucking bits. Like I don't know. I think that if we watch the movie right and we do a bit just based on random thoughts that we're thinking about after seeing the movie, then if it's a good movie, the thoughts are going to be somewhat related to the movie, even if they seem random, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Agreed. Yeah. So anyways, go watch Driver if you haven't seen it before. It's really fucking good.
Yeah.
Do we have oh, by the way, also God, what's her name again? Blanche.
Yeah.
Did not recognize that is Christina Hendricks, who you've probably seen in a million things.
Have I?
She did not.
What's she in?
She is in let's see.
Bad Santa 2.
She is in Bad Santa 2. Yeah. Why is that? I know I've seen her in like a billion things. I think she's mostly a TV actor.
Okay.
But which of course I'm not seeing any of because I'm on fucking
Mad
Letterboxd right now. Yeah, she was in Mad Men. Very very prominent character in Mad Men. Which I did not watch any of, so I can't talk about it.
She was in Kevin Hill for 22 episodes.
I don't know what that is.
She was in Firefly.
Yeah, Firefly. She was in Firefly. Yeah.
Neat. We've hit the IMDb portion of the show, which is usually when we have ran out of things actually relevant to talk about.
Well, yeah, I was thinking, it's time to start wrapping it down. Yeah, no, for sure. It is the IMDb portion, absolutely.
We don't have any emails. Actually, no, we do have an email from Carlos. Edging with Trash and Monk is ranking very well in the United States. Hello.
Wow.
How is it going? Hope all is well. I have some cool information that might interest you. Your podcast, Edging with Trash and Monk, has good performance in Apple Podcast rankings last 30 days. Position 199 in the category Film Reviews, United States.
Wow. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, wow.
This data is provided by some website they're trying to fucking get us to use.
Yeah.
Happy podcasting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you, Carlos,
for the update. You can go fuck yourself.
Yeah. We won't be using your website probably, but thank you for the heads up. Yeah.
We also got an email from a name I can't pronounce. YouTube growth equals podcast growth.
Wow.
Forbes stated that according to a recent survey conducted by Voice Actor Marketplace Voices, 57.8% of people prefer to watch podcasts on YouTube. Given that most people prefer to watch their podcasts on YouTube, wouldn't it say for people to find yours there? Well, I do have good news for you, random fucking spam email person. We are already on YouTube.
Yeah, we're there.
We're there already, and we got a comment on YouTube. We're gonna do some I did some digging around for. So if you want to contact us, fucking send us an email or something like that. It's just there's a million places where there can be comments, so we're not always gonna see it anywhere other than that.
Yeah, email is the best place, 100%.
Yeah. We did get a comment from Key on the episode 16 episode on YouTube that says, another good episode. I wasn't sure of the movie selection criteria for this podcast, but John Wick confirms that being terrible or edgy is not necessarily a requirement. So there's more to this, but I want to touch on this. John Wick is kind of edgy. Okay, so let's define edgelord a little bit. So there's a lot of different there's a lot of movies that are edgy are edgy because a bunch of school shooters really like them, like Drive. John Wick isn't that type. Well, John Wick is that type of movie, but the John Wick is edgy in like a nothing personnel kid, it teleports behind you kind of way, you know?
Yeah.
And like that's really the type of edginess that we're focusing on primarily. But we'll go on fucking diversions from time to time to other shit. So
Yeah.
the theme,
I mean, like, we have a theme, right?
Yeah.
We do have a theme, but also we will occasionally want to just do other things because we are human beings, okay? And and real heroes. And yeah, sometimes we just want to do other things, right? And
Yeah.
you know, what do we have to have like a perfect definition of what it is? No.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we try and stick with it though.
I would say that
And-
all of the movies we've done have been edgy in some sort of sense of it. There's a lot of different ways movies can be edgy, and I think that we've I think all of our movie selections have touched on that in at least one way, except for maybe Lost in Space 1998, which is my fault for making us watch that dog shit fucking movie.
Yeah, that movie, that was rough. That was rough. That was a rough one.
But even then, like fucking like Gary Oldman's role is a little bit edgy, so maybe tangentially a little bit in there.
Gary Oldman definitely has a little bit of a school shooter cinematic universe energy in that one.
The Mall Ninja cinematic universe. We'll do it.
Yeah,
Mall
Ninja
the nicer name.
That's much nicer. That's much nicer. Absolutely.
So
yeah.
Key also asked, Brian, have you watched Bound 1996 yet?
No, I have not watched it yet, but I do really want to. I'm not 100% sure if Bound falls into the purview of this, but also I'm not against watching it. Bound being the first of the movies by the Wachowski sisters.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it is apparently very gay, very lesbian movie, which is, you know, which I love.
At a certain point, there are some fucking Wachowski movies we're going to have to get through. Eventually, we're going to have to do a podcast episode about The Matrix. And I don't know how the fuck people sit down and record a podcast episode about the fucking Matrix, but eventually we're going to have to cross that bridge, you know?
Yeah. It's going to have to happen. And I don't know how you talk about that movie. I mean, I'll probably just be like, Baudrillard is screaming. That will be my whole contribution for that. We'll just be like, Baudrillard.
I think we both need to spend some time in the hyperbolic take chamber coming up with a new thing to say about the Matrix, because I don't think that's gonna be very easy.
That's a toughie. It's a toughie. Yeah, but Bound is supposed to be very gay and very nice, and I'm totally down to watch it. But I have not watched it yet. I don't know if I should save it for podcast or not. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't really know enough about it. So you know.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So maybe we'll get to it. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
So this is let me see if I can find this. Hold on. Yeah, so this is not a letter addressed to us, but this is a review that was left on our Apple Podcast page.
Ooh, I'm excited.
From Moorejam007.
Oh. Hey, how is that spelled? It's more like
M-O-R,
jam?
Morjam.
Okay.
5 stars.
And okay, James Bond. Okay, got it.
The title of the review is pod/probe/pod.
Okay, let's go.
I recently discovered the pod and listened to 75% while waiting for a doctor's appointment. I had to hit pause because my appointment began and the doc proceeded to probe my anus to take a look at my colon. Then, after the anal probe, I finished the last 10 minutes of the pod. 10 out of 10 would recommend an edging/anal probe/anal experience.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much. I hope the anal probe went well.
Me too. I hope they didn't find anything bad, and that you just had a little bit of fun there.
Or if they did find something bad, I hope you found peace with your life.
That reminds me of the last time I got a doctor sticking something in my ass. It wasn't for fun. It was for medical purposes. Okay. But it was great because we were I was getting they were checking out some internals, right? And so they had this cool radar gun that they stick in your ass, and then it just looks around.
Like,
and
pew, 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 pew,
and
pew.
And I looked at the end of it. I was like, oh, that's it's not small.
I've yet to have a doctor interface with my asshole, to be completely honest with you. I've never had a doctor go like, well, we got to get in there. we gotta send our best men in there to survey the situation.
One day they'll come for your asshole too. And maybe they'll come for it too. I don't know, but but yeah, the face I made, I could feel my face making the face as the doctor the doctor was back there, and there was a nurse right in front of me, and I was like looking at her face as my face contorted, and and I'm just like, I'm so sorry, because that nurse learned a lot about me in that split second. And that poor woman.
Yeah. Do they give you poppers at the doctor's office before that happens?
They do not give you poppers, but they do use lube. Thank God.
All right.
Yeah, there you go. That's my doctor experience, everybody.
We do have a voicemail as well, from Trogdor Runner. Once again, let me go ahead and play something about the Google Voice transcriptions. Really sucks ass. So I have no idea what this is about.
Hey there, it's Troggy Doggy again. Just listen to the Shoot 'em Up episode. Let's see, what day is it? It's Tuesday. I have the day off. That's nice. It sounds like Shoot 'em Up is kind of like what I wanted the movie wanted to be. I don't know if it's as good in that, like, I'm gonna laugh my ass off at how cheesy it is while it's taking itself seriously versus while it's not taking itself seriously kind of energy. But I'm hoping it does better in the latter. And then as far as Looney Tunes type movies, I know I've mentioned this before at some point, but the Gremlins 2 is a Looney Tunes ass movie. It is off the rails. It is a parody of sequels. It very, very much stretches the concept of edgelord, so it's probably not going to be on the podcast, but if you guys do ever end up discussing it just generally, I'd love to be on. I fell in love with it the first time I saw it. I think it pairs well if you watch 1 first and then 2 if you haven't already seen 1, but if you saw it years ago, that's kind of the point. It was made 6 years after, so it's good. Very Looney Tunes ass movie. Y'all are doing great work. Keep it all up, and I will try to find a nice vinyl with wear and no label for one or both of you. I'm sure it'll come in handy. All right, talk to you later.
All right, well, thank you so much for the beautiful voicemail.
Bless you, Troggy Doggy.
Bless you. I don't know if you've seen Shoot 'em Up yet after leaving this. It is definitely more towards the latter, where it's not really fucking taking itself super seriously. And
I don't think that movie takes it seriously for a moment. That movie is a joke from the jump to the jump to the toilet. It's the whole way. There's not a second of seriousness in that movie.
It's definitely not like Wanted, which is a very serious version of that movie, kind of. Except Wanted also is about a zero to hero type narrative, where this guy is a zero who is also a hero, which is kind of a different vibe,
He's like hero to zero to hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where wanted is like, you hate women? Well, maybe you can bend bullets.
Yeah.
Maybe, hey, maybe you think you're bullshit. Well, if you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you could become the Ubermensch and like the leader of us all assassins.
But that's a corrupt order, so you have to have your hot your hot girl mentor kill herself so you can rise up.
God, Wanted sucks so bad.
Yeah.
Whoever
Anyway.
made that movie should. Oh, never mind. Excuse me.
Gremlins 2. I don't know. I don't think it's an edgelord movie, but you know what? That's what fucking the paywall's for eventually when we start
That's
fucking
true.
charging your asses.
Yeah. The idea, everybody, is when we start doing a Patreon or paywalling episodes, and I don't know how, we haven't decided what the threshold is that we would.
I think here's the paywall
really,
is probably the paywall is you can subscribe to us on Patreon, or you have to pay the DMing one of us asking for a link to the episode.
That's true.
And probably give it to you.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not very good at capitalizing at you. I'm sorry to say.
The money's not in Patreon anyway. The money's in t-shirt sales.
That's true. When we start making t-shirts for the fucking
those are
podcast. Oh my god. Yeah. So that's but the idea, right, is that I'm going to, first off, our first order of business when we start doing paywall episodes is me forcing Monk to watch every Star Wars movie with me. And then I will be insufferable about Star Wars movies.
You better stay off the fucking Haichu when we do that.
I'm gonna be blasting off. I might finally do it. I might finally deliver on my promise, Monk, and get some of those high speed powders and put them in some vodka, and just that'll be Star Wars, baby. I call it blue milk. They got ones with blue food coloring in them, so it's not impossible. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Get some bee fuel. The B is for blue.
Yeah, blue bee fuel.
So yeah, maybe we'll watch Gremlins 2 someday. I don't know. I saw the first one. I think I've seen Gremlins 2, but I think I was like 10 years old, so I don't remember anything about it.
Do you know if it's a Christmas movie too? Was
the first Gremlins a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Okay, I don't remember anything about that. Don't feed him after midnight. That's what I know. That's my I'm not a real gremlin head.
Yeah, wow.
What were they called before they turned into Mogwai?
Yeah, Mogwai.
I think the Mogwai I think Gremlins would be cool if like they followed the rules and they just had a little Mogwai pal to hang around with.
Yeah, I love a little Mogwai. They're like Furbies, but real.
Furbies were terrifying. I had a Furby as a kid that would keep like randomly turning itself on. I think a lot of people had Furbies like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking terrifying.
Yeah. Oh God.
Well, that's the podcast, I think.
Yeah, that's the podcast, everyone.
You've got something.
I don't think there's anything else. We did our emails, we did our voicemails, we read our reviews from James Bond. We got our review from Troggy Doggy.
If you would like to provide us with some free content for the end of the show, you can email us at edgelordpod@gmail.com. You can call the Edging Hotline at 920-350-EDGE, 920-350-3343. We've got a Twitter, Edging Podcast. You can find me or Brian fucking wherever. You can look up our usernames. And
yeah, we're around. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, you can fucking figure out how to find something on the fucking internet. So I swear to God, I don't have to tell you people everything.
Yeah, just be like, look up Briantrash Reddit.
Just look for like fucking your local police database for like reports of like ether consumption. And then
Yep.
you'll find
There you go.
you can find all of Brian's personal information that way.
You
And
can
then
find my ether stash and
for
and
me,
blow
you
it
can
up.
for me, you can connect with me on LinkedIn.
uh,
Alrighty.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
have a good day, everyone.
Bye.